3, 2, 1.
No, it's already live. Oh.
We needed a countdown.
Okay, yeah. No, like on my screen, it's already 20-second live. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, we're live. I was waiting for Brenda to say that, but she wouldn't say that. It's always me going, we're live. Anyway. So yeah, we're live. Welcome back, everyone. It is Thursday, 8 p.m. in Melbourne. This is our episode 7 of Brewing Live TV. Today we are going to, give you some updates about the festival, and also show you a video about how to brew Gyokuro. And special thank you to the Tea Crane for giving us the permission to use this video for the tea festival. Obviously, the video is owned by him and created by him. Maybe Amanda, you should teach me how to pronounce his name properly. I don't want to make a mistake.
What is his name?
His name is I don't want to say it. Like, I will send it to you in the message, and then you can say it later.
Okay, yeah, because I only know him as the Tea Crane. I didn't actually know his name.
Okay. Yeah, it's a French name. Maybe if Thibaut jump on later, we can ask Thibaut how to say the name.
Yeah, I'm not sure my Australian slang is going to go well with a French name, but I'll give it a go.
Okay. So yes. So while we're here, we should. So item number 1 today, we would like to let you know that we are hosting a tea mimi competition. So and the gift is a tea bottle that is Amanda has with her. Do you have the tea bottles with you?
No.
Oh. So maybe we should show the video of the tea bottle then. Yeah, so we are giving away 2 free tea bottles to the person who posts us a meme. And the one that get the most interaction or the most like on Facebook will get one of those tea bottle. And it's a thermos where come into 2 compartments. Where you put the tea leaves on the top, and then when it's ready to brew, you just tip it upside down. And when it's ready, you tip it back so the tea doesn't get stronger as it goes. Do you have the video there?
No, but I've got a picture.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see there.
Okay. Yes, but not very well.
What I'll do, Kaishan, is after the video, we'll mention this again, and I will duck out and get the bottles so we can show them off a little bit. And I know how strict you are with pronunciation, so I'll just let you know it's a meme, not meme.
Oh, sorry, it's a meme. I keep calling meme. I think it's meme. Okay, it's a meme. Thank you.
That I've heard call it that, but yeah, it's a meme.
It's a meme. Beautiful. So yeah, we have a contest for a free tea bottle. Please jump in and leave your favorite tea meme and upload it on our social media to win the tea thermos. So and then we would also like to read some of the comments in our Facebook post about tea struggles.
Yes. Should I let you know the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we put out a question that asks what frustrates you most as a tea lover. So some of the comments we got was when a wait staff ask you if you want milk and sugar with your green tea.
Yeah, obviously that person knows nothing about green tea. Have you been served green tea with milk before? Like, if you have, let us know. And if you have more tea struggle, please also leave a comment. We would like to hear about that.
Yeah, the struggles are real.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another one. when you go and have high tea and there's a sad Lipton's tea bag trailing out of the pot you're given?
I've been to some of those. It's like close to $100 a cover, and you will be giving a glass of champagne, but your tea is I don't know, 20-cent, 10-cent tea bags. It's so sad.
And considering it's high tea, this is what I don't understand. Even in Canada, we went to some really fancy high tea places, and they actually at least had loose leaf tea, but they had some of these beautiful teas in this massive teapot, and they kept filling it up with lukewarm water, and then it would just sit there, and it went bitter and cold and not nice. And I'm like, high tea, I know it's a little bit about the food, but it's a lot about the good tea as well.
So tea bags or loose leaf tea that brew badly, which one will you go for?
Oh, I can't help but go loose leaf tea brewed badly.
Can you taste the difference?
I think I have to, because but it's really nasty to all the people that have made beautiful loose leaf tea to brew it poorly, isn't it? It's not a very nice thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know which one's worse. I would choose not to have tea. Anything else? Any other comments?
Oh yes, there's lots. That at cafes they use the hot water from their coffee machine to make tea, and it's never the right temperature.
Yeah. Do you know who left that comment?
No, I didn't write the names down.
Okay. Well, thanks whoever wrote that comment. Unfortunately, I was required to serve tea that way as well. I used to work in cafes that brew tea that way, and but then they don't have a kettles. Like cafes don't normally have kettles.
Yeah. And if that's what you're told to do, I don't think you have much of a choice, is it?
Yeah. So excuse me, my dog is crying. That you know.
Someone also mentioned that a green tea in a tea bag in a pot of boiling water. No. Don't put boiling water in there. You're going to stew the green tea. Do you want bitter tea? Because that is how you get it.
That's really valid. I remember going to a tea place. I think it's a tea salon, and it's in the middle of the city, and in one of those buildings along Collins Street. And it was a high tea place, so we ordered some very expensive scone, and then they served me a chai tea, and I was like, let's be safe, let's order a chai tea. And I was like, well, is this powder or loose leaf? And then by then the waiter's already frowning. So yeah, we have both. And I'm like, okay, I don't want the powder. Can I have the loose leaf, please? He's like, oh yeah, sure. So then they brew it, and then they take the leaf away, and then they give me a pot of tea in a teapot this big, and the color was like, like after you drink your coffee and then you try to wash the cup, it's that color, and I'm like, well, this is really too weak. So I called the waiter over and I said that, well, this tea is really weak. Like, do you want to try? Like, I really want her to know how weak this is because she brew it. And she's like, oh, this is the best we can do. Like, I think, what else do you want me to do? And I'm like, but I just paid $6 for this pot. Like, I want a tea. And so they brew it again, and it was still weak, but like, I just didn't have the energy to push it further. But yeah, so and this was 6 months ago, I think. So unfortunately, I really do think that the Melbourne tea scene needs to catch up. Even for chai tea. So that's not good. And they serve you milk as well. So
yeah.
do you have any bad tea stories?
Me, no, I just used to go to a play centre, which is probably possibly the worst place to get a cup of tea. And
The tea center?
a play centre.
Oh, a play center?
Yes.
Okay.
So the kids could play, and I would meet my mother's group and things like that. And yes, I don't know why, I went for the green tea bag, and it was always terrible.
What brand is it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to name names. I can't remember.
Okay, fair. Do you have any more comments?
Yes, there was one saying, watching friends put loose leaf tea in a mug and pour hot water in it and then stir it with a spoon.
Well, at least they use loose leaf tea.
Yeah, that's a start.
Yeah. Yeah, but like you also want to say, hey, this is not instant, coffee. Normally just the leaf is not gonna dissolve. Yes. So if you just jump in and wonder why we're still talking, today is very, very slow pace because we will be just doing a bit of a recap of the past events and then have a bit of a chat and also introduce new tea guests and make an announcement about our paid workshop. And then we will show the videos about how to brew Gyokuro. So bear with us. And we also have the teapot ready to brew with you.
Yes. I think we should probably move on to the recap, but I will just say Kirsten did mention that she said if they insist on brewing for us, they should know how. Why is there a difference in attitude between coffee and tea? Exactly. There should have been.
But like sometimes it is because I don't know, like maybe that is the problem we need to address is that people are in the position to serve us do not know tea that well. And they probably had not had a good tea, had not know anything about tea. Tea is just, I think the stereotype of tea is like what your grandma would drink, right? So it's not chic, not fashionable. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I'm not sure about hospitality in Australia, but I don't think there's proper tea training because when I was in Canada, I actually went to a college and all the hospitality students had to go and do a tea 101. And they had to learn what a green and oolong pour. They had to learn all of it.
Really? In Canada?
That was part of their hospitality course. And I think, it should be. They should sort of understand the basics at least and the principles.
Is it because Canada has a large population of Chinese, I know there are a lot of Hong Kong people migrated over there.
Yeah, I think that's more on the Vancouver side, maybe. Don't quote me on that. We were over in Toronto. But it wasn't. I don't feel like it was Asian influenced. This was just food influenced. That if you're going to learn about tea and have a cafe, you need to know what tea is. Really.
Okay. Well, that's really fair. But it will catch up. I do have faith about the future. Okay, so doing a bit of a recap of our last 4 or 6 episodes, I just said. So episode 1, I had myself on, although I wasn't feeling very happy about my own episode. I don't know why. I hope that I had gave some good information out there. And then episode 2, we have Tania. That talk about Taiwanese tea, and she really, shine some light about Taiwanese tea history, how the industry was found, are now offering, some really good black tea, and then a lot of good oolong, mostly. And I was really grateful that she talked about that. And then episode 3, we had Minna for ceramics. She gave us a studio tour and a clay demonstration. And I had to say that I was really, my heart felt full walking away from that episode, because I felt like that, not only we had her beautiful teawares that we share, so that's something materials, but I walk away feeling like I had, a new appreciation about art. And then I was able to see the world through her eyes, and I felt like, I learned so much. So if you haven't watched that episode, I highly recommend it. And then episode 4, we had, yeah.
I was just going to add that with Mina's, watching her throw a teapot, she made it look so easy. But when I was in Canada also, I did a pottery course on the wheel, and it's really hard. So I think, she made it look so easy, but that's years and years of practice of her.
Yeah, I was going to say she did it for 8 years. It's like using chopsticks, because like my son is learning how to use chopsticks. Like he can pick up, but he can't pick up very heavy thing. And then for some strange reason, I was like, I want to exercise both of my brain. So recently I started to use chopstick with my left hand. So I'm exercising my other brain, but do not dedicate new time to do it, right? So I have found that I'm on the same level with my left hand as he. Yeah, so I couldn't, maneuver very well, and I couldn't pick up heavy things. So, just I think that all things are like that. If you dedicated time to practice, then you will get there. So the only thing is, how much do you love it?
Yeah. And before we move further on, I'll just say Kirsten said that she did order some tea from Tania. She was very kind in giving her a sample of high-grade jade oolong, and it's wonderful. And I love Tania's episode as well. I think every time we talk to Tania, you just learn a little bit more about Taiwan and Taiwanese teas, and the interesting facts about Japan and how they helped shape their tea industry and develop TRES, the Tea Research and Extension Station. I think, it's just so interesting all the time.
Yeah. And I want to say that, Kirsten, because you left a comment on our Facebook saying that you forgot to put in the code, but I couldn't log in anymore because I'm no longer the admin. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. So I just sent Tania a message and let her know that you ordered something. So, so just letting you know that I did see your message. Not trying to say that, oh, you get your tea sample because of me. So yeah. Oh, and then the last episode we did was with Ian about Japanese tea, and I had to say that I learned so much because I am not qualified at all for Japanese tea, but I do have a high appreciation for good Japanese tea. And I think that, Ian finally, had, I finally have the confidence to brew a Gyokuro, but then we will also see tonight a different approach about brewing Gyokuro. Oh, so Kirsten is drinking a Japanese oolong. Interesting. How was it? How's the Japanese oolong? Because I was thinking about order some sample. Japanese oolong tend to be quite expensive comparing to their other teas. But then, sometimes it's a bit of a hit and miss, or so I was told. So and so we will, Amanda, do you want to introduce our new tea guest for the next 6 weeks?
I can do that. So this Saturday at 2 p.m. we have Varun from Rajani Tea. So he grew up on the tea farm, and he is going to talk a little bit about that and talk about where Assam tea is probably headed and all the things they're involved in over there, and the push with their old seed plants, variety of their cultivars over there, and sort of moving away from that, you know, overflowing of all the teas, and maybe starting to make it a little bit more unique in their own way. So I think it'd be really exciting to talk to Brew.
Yeah. Well, I recently find out, or no, I actually know for a long time, but Barum has a podcast that I recently just started to listen to the first episode. And I think it's, the different keyword is so fascinating. And that's why, I have found this conversation, between the tea vendors are so helpful. Like talking to Ian, you learn about the Japanese tea market. Talking to Tania, you learn about the Taiwanese tea market. And then I had a feeling that we're going to learn so much from Barum, because he was talking about, the tea market is almost like the stock market. Like there's a rise and there's a crash, and then, then the individual tea farmers trying to find way to, make artisan tea notice, because all the Indian tea was blend. Yeah, that part I find very interesting.
Yeah, there's a real move, isn't there? Real push to change.
Yes. Guess it's everywhere. Because the Japanese tea market is trying to push for more tea variety. Because obviously oolong you can sell it for more expensive than bottled tea.
Yeah. And then after Baroon on next Thursday, we have Bamini from a Green Leaf Tea House. She's showcasing 3 of her artisan black teas from 3 different areas in India. So she actually grew up in India and has been drinking tea from a very early age, and she shows us a little bit of the different flavor profiles of each area through these teas, and it's lovely. It's actually opened my eyes to Indian teas a little bit more, and I loved her session. A little bit of it's pre-recorded, obviously, because I'm talking about it in the past.
You give it away.
It was really lovely, so I'm really excited to be able to show that with you, and then we'll jump on and do a Q&A after that session.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn about Darjeeling tea as well. Yeah, and then the history. It's like, the tea was so intertwined. I love it. And that is the other tea that is called the champagne in tea, right? We know Oriental Beauty is called champagne in tea, and then also Darjeeling is also called that.
Yes.
And then, so we have 2 Indian tea vendors, which is great. And then we also have 2 more Chinese tea vendors. And then because and then we have a Australian ceramicist who is doing a wood fire, teawares. But at the same time, he is also selling Japanese tea. And that is Luke from Shizuka. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. It's a Japanese name, so it means just meditate or something like that. Yeah. So he's also going to teach us a little bit about tea and spirituality and how to use it for meditation purpose.
Yes, I think it's Shinkantanza Tea House.
Shinkan. Okay, I'm not gonna try.
Don't worry about my pronunciation.
Okay. And then we have Ken from Sydney. So, this is now truly a Australian tea festival, because we have, also have Ripple Tea Effect from WA, and then Kathy from Sydney, Kathy and Ken from Sydney. Yeah. So that will be our lineup. Or maybe we should play the video now, and then after the video, we'll do the workshop, because it's 25 minutes in.
Yes, let's do that.
Great.
I'll get that.
Yes. Okay. Kirsten, you said, I do love the Chinese oolong, and 2 other oolong from Tania was stronger and more typical of what you expected for high-grade Chinese Taiwanese. I drink them according to mood. What is typical for you for a high-grade Chinese Taiwanese tea?
Can I start the movie now?
Yeah.
Once I do, we will go off, I thought. Hang on.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Tea Crane. I'm going to be brewing Gyokuro, and I'll walk you through the steps of how to do this. This is just a very quick brewing video.
Can we pause for 1 second?
Do you like Gyokuro? Have you ever tried it? Have you brewed it? What is your...
Yes, before we go on that, I do want to say again, so this video do not owned by us. This is made by, I'm going to try to say Tyas, Tyas. It's a French name, so excuse me if we haven't said that right. Maybe I should write here.
Where's Debolt when we need him?
I will put it here. So that's his name. It's a bit hard for me. I'm so sorry. From what I know, he dedicated himself to shuttle, which is like a very dedicated, practice in making matcha. So he has a lot of good tea knowledge about Japanese tea. And if you're interested in knowing more, please follow his YouTube channel, The Tea Crane. And yeah, please go ahead with the video.
Yes, we did receive permission from him. I don't know
yes.
if you say that or not, but
yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Cool.
Approach, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to hear about it, and I'll share with you now my approach to brewing Gyokuro. First of all, the Gyokuro is always shaded for 3 to 4 weeks. And shading the tea trees before harvesting means that the sunlight, the amount of sunlight that reaches to the tea, is blocked out. And that makes the tea grow wider and more thinner. And it makes it more fragile. So the leaf that eventually is obtained and the tea is made from is going to be more fragile. So that's one reason why you want to cool down your water to a lower temperature of about 50 to 60 degrees Celsius, because doing that will affect the leaf in a more positive way, and it will also release more sweetness. Cooling down the water until a temperature below 80 degrees makes sure that the bitterness, the catechin components, are not released. It's been scientifically proven that catechin components do not release under 80 degrees Celsius. They need to be steeped in a water temperature above 80 degrees Celsius in order to come out of the leaf. So what that does is it restricts it from coming out, and it releases all the amino acids. And the amino acids are the components that are responsible for an umami sweet flavor. And that is what we're looking for in a Gyokuro. So the best approach to brewing this tea is by cooling down the water. And I'm going to do that in several steps. First, what I'll do is I'll pour my hot water directly from my kettle, which has been boiling here besides me, into my teapot, my kyusu. And transferring it into a cold vessel each time reduces the water temperature for about 10 degrees. So that means if it was boiling at 90 to 98 degrees here, it'll be around 90 degrees, 80 degrees, 90 degrees in my teapot. And especially if I let it sit here, the teapot will absorb some of the heat. And then next I will transfer it to my little cruet pitcher. And this again will also cool down the water about 10 degrees again. So taking these steps will eventually cool down the water to around 60 degrees. And the Gyokuro that I like to brew is usually organically grown or naturally grown. And it's somewhat different from the conventional Gyokuro that you can find, which is often way too sweet and immensely thick and cloying, and the ones that I like to brew are more on the fresh, the natural side. So I like to maintain a higher temperature as well, so that we can release more of its flavors and aroma. And I think for organic teas, aromas are very important. So after having let the water sit in your teapot for a little, then you transfer it again to the following vessel. And so doing that again will further start to cool down the water. And now having had hot water in your teapot means that your teapot, your kyusu, has warmed up. And that's also a nice feature if you next want to start enjoying the tea that you're going to have. So first I'm going to insert this, the tea leaf that I have for the Gyokuro into my kyusu. And because my kyusu is hot now, when I put the lid on and I let it sit for a little bit, then next time when I open the lid and I sniff it, I really get the nice, delicious, sweet aromas of the Gyokuro because the kyusu has warmed up the tea leaf that is now in here. So it already starts warming up and preparing the leaf for the brewing while the water here is still cooling down. If you're committed to cooling down further, you might want to line up the amount of cups that you are going to use for the amount of persons you're going to serve, and you divide the hot water over those cups once more. I keep it at this temperature because I like that 60 to 70 degree temperature. And I also should say something about the kyusu that I'm using. You can see the kyusu that I'm using is a flat bottom one. A lot of kyusu have a more rounded shape on the bottom and a narrower bottom. This one has a wide shape and the bottom is flat. And that helps the Gyokuro, the tea leaf, actually to spread out over the surface in width more than when... Well, it affects the tea when you're brewing it and when it starts to unfurl. Now the tea leaf has been rolled very tightly, and when you put the water in, it is going to start to unfurl and to absorb the water and the leaf becomes bigger, it becomes its original shape. And when it's all on top of each other in a narrow teapot, then the top leaf is going to suppress the leaf that is on the bottom. And that is going to affect, of course, the way that that leaf can come open and the amount of flavor it can give off. With a flat bottom one, the leaf is going to line up next to each other more. And when it opens up, it's got more space. And so it's going to give off more delicious flavor. So the next thing that we do is, now that the water has cooled down, we're going to gently insert that into the teapot over the tea leaf. And now we're going to let it steep for 2 to 3 minutes. It's a longer steeping because the cooler your water, the longer you want to steep your tea. And if you use hotter water, you want to shorten that amount of time. So for some of the senchas that I brew, I like to use 90 degrees or 98 degrees, very hot water. And then I would extract the tea already at 20 to 40 seconds of steeping. And
the $1 million question I get asked all the time is, can I subdivide my property? So if you want to know if you...
With this Gyokuro, I have cooled down the water quite a bit. So with that cooler water, I'm going to extract the sweet and umami flavor components. And that is why I let it sit also for about 2 minutes to 3 minutes, so that it can really produce a thick and nice flavor. All right, so the tea has steeped, our Gyokuro is ready. So I'm going to extract it now back into my, my pitcher here. And I'm of course going to extract all the liquor until the last drop, so that there is no no moisture. Well, there is going to be moisture, but there's no liquid remaining in the teapot, which will also allow for a beautiful and delicious second steeping. The leaf has not unfurled that very much. It's just started to come open, and once we make a second brew or third brew, especially with the second brew, it's going to unfurl further and going to release more flavor. And that's also a feature of Gyokuro, having several steepings is what we of course like to enjoy. So I'm going to have a taste of this beautiful Gyokuro. Look at the color. It's very amazing, thick color. I can smell the sweetness too. I don't even have to bring the cup to my nose. The sweetness is just omnipresent here. Wow. It's very sweet. You got a strong aroma, strong flavors, no bitterness whatsoever. This tea is grown in Kagoshima, by the way, and it's grown by a farmer who makes very delicious tea just right by a very idyllic, beautiful pond and a small volcanic mountain. And the tea here is really absolutely natural, absolutely organic, and it's nurtured by the dew from the pond that then in the morning attaches to the tea leaf, and the tea leaf absorbs that nourishment as well. All right, so let's have a second steeping of the same leaf. You see that the Gyokuro is, the leaf is still very curled up, very tight. With the second brewing, we're going to use a little bit hotter water. And so gradually with each steeping, we're going to increase the temperature of the water. So I just took some water, hot water, in my pitcher, and I'm going to transfer that onto the leaf now, and I'll let it steep again for about 2 minutes this time. Now, because the leaf has already been, with the first steeping, the tea leaf was dry. And so when you put in the water, it first has to absorb the water before it can start to open up. Now it's already absorbed the water, and immediately as we put the water in, the tea starts to further unfurl. And so it starts to give a flavor immediately. So it's going to give off more flavor than the first infusion. And also because the water is hotter, it is also going to, well, enhance the flavor and the aroma of the tea that we're going to be enjoying in this second brew. Okay, so the tea is ready. We'll pour it out. And also have a look at the color of the liquor. It's going to be much darker and much more intense than the previous one. Again, we're going to extract all the liquor until the last drop, so we can also have a delicious third brew. And then we can see that the leaf has increased in volume even more. It has gained more form, and also the beautiful greens of the color of the leaf, they also come out. So we're going to taste the second brew as well. It's very delicious. It's as if it's a different tea. The flavor has changed, of course, because with the first brew you have extracted a lot of sweetness, umami components already, and what you extract from the leaf is not going to come out twice. So you won't get the same flavors as in the first brew, and that's why this one is also a bit more calm. It's fresher, you have less cloyingness. You have a little bit more of the bitterness as well, because the temperature of the water was higher. But it's not that it's producing a lot of bitterness, because it's not a very bitter tea. So overall, you get a more refreshing experience as opposed to the first one. So I'll continue sipping this tea, and then we're going to make a third brew as well. So for the third brew, what we're going to do different is this time I'm not going to start cooling the water anymore. I like to drink Gyokuro until the third brew. You could do a fourth and a fifth brew, and gradually, as with the first brew, I brew at around 50-60 degrees, then build it up to 70-80, and for the last brew, I just go full on with off the boil hot water. So I pour direct from the kettle into the teapot, straight onto the tea leaf. As I've said earlier in this video, with cooler water, you're going to let it steep longer. With hotter water, you want to brew it as soon as possible. And this is basically how I brew Gyokuro. I hope this is a reference for you. If you like to drink Gyokuro, if you enjoy Gyokuro, let me know in the comments. If you learned something, also let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell for future updates. I really appreciate that I can share this with you. And before we conclude this video, I'm going to brew this tea, pour it out, and let's have a final look at the color, how this turns out. It's very bright green. And then I'm going to have a sip of it as well. The taste will basically be slightly more on the bitter end, more fragrant, and because we brewed it shorter, it is also going to be less intense in flavor, but more intense in fragrance. So even more refreshing than the second brew. And it's nice to build up to this point. So I hope you enjoyed this, and looking forward to see you in the next video.
Yeah, so that was the end of the video. Thank you, Tires. Anyone who speaks French here, welcome to correct my pronunciation. Yeah, thank you, Tyrus, to allow us to use this video for brewing. Now let me pull out my tea cam. So I'm gonna brew, according to his instruction. It is a little bit different to what Ian had shared last week with us. To speed up the process a little bit, I already warm up the pot, I already put the tea in. So I actually didn't know if I should use up all my tea and then not sleep tonight or not having enough tea for having very little tea and compromise the quality. So I decided to dump all the tea in. And so yeah, having a warm pot and then shake it and smell it, you actually can get some of the fragrance that you don't get from just smelling the wet leaves. So for some reason, this one have a bit of a gaiwan cha sort of smell. So a little bit like the pop brown rice. Sweetness, umami, it's all there. Yeah, it smells really yummy already. Now I'm cooling down my water and actually want to ask if anyone had any questions about his brewing technique. I've wrote down some points here that, we can share. Amanda, your teapot looks a lot like Tyra's teapot, just slightly bigger.
Yes, this is just a new pot. I actually bought it when I bought some Gyokuro from Zen Wonders just recently, and voila, we're doing a Gyokuro
Yeah.
session. So that was just
Yeah. So I do want to say that I think my other friend Monica, sorry if I was finished with the A. Monica had said that it's ideal to use shibori dashi, which is what Ian used. But I saw that Tyrus also used a normal kyushu, so I feel a little bit better. This is actually a little bit too big. So I'm gonna put the water in now. I feel that it's still a little bit hot, so I'm gonna put some cold water in.
It was interesting. He actually pushed the second and third brews quite hard for Gyokuro, isn't it?
Yeah. So if I was following, the first infusion 60 to 7 degrees for 2 minutes. Same for the second brew, and then the third brew was only 20 seconds for 100 degrees. Did I get that right?
I think so.
Now, because I love my tea quite strong, so I'm not going to put too much water in. Anyone else is brewing here with us?
Tania had some black tea.
Yeah. So, yeah, Tyrus was talking about a flat vessel. So, I'm thinking that this one is not flat. But instead, what I'm doing is I only put in a little bit of water. So that will work the same way. Another thing that I got quite confused, which I, also follow him doing, is he put the lid on. And I'm like, normally green tea, I wouldn't put the lid on. But I guess when you have a very, very low temperature water, you can. Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to do what he said and keep it on. And then another point that I would like to find out is that he actually used a gongdaobei, which is not traditional in Japanese tea. Right? But I had, you have the same gongdaobei also. Yes. So actually, I talked to Tania before, and she said that she was going to mention about gongdaobei, and we didn't get around to talk about gongdaobei. But gongdaobei is like a relatively new invention. No, actually, no. Gongdaobei had existed for a long time, and because the tea and alcohol culture in China is that you actually drink both together. For this was recorded in all our poetry, where people would drink alcohol and then tea, or maybe tea first and then alcohol. And gongdaobei was invented when there's a dispenser for alcohol, and eventually people just start picking it up and use it for tea. But then it started to become part of the chashi, and it's heavily used in Taiwan in the chashi. Anyway, I think, is it 1 minute yet?
Mine's been in for 2 minutes. I'm not sure if you put yours in before or after mine.
I had no idea.
Watching.
I think that mine needs a little bit longer by the look of it.
So here's mine.
Oh, lovely color.
It's so creamy and it's so beautiful.
What kind of Gyokuro you're drinking tonight?
Well, so like I mentioned, this is actually from Zen Wonders, and it's a 2021 spring harvest of the Goku cultivar in, I may say this wrong, the Hoshino village in Yame. So this one was actually shaded for 30 days, which I think...
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, I think the average is about 21 days. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it goes... So yes, and it's also been through a light steam, which was the Asha Mushi.
Oh. According to Ian, only good quality tea will go through the light steam.
Yes, that was something I learned with him as well, actually.
This is mine.
Ooh,
It looks so nice.
that's a beautiful.
I feel like my Japanese tea brewing skill is also improving.
See, if nothing else, we've done that. We've improved on our Japanese brewing and learning skills.
Mm.
Mine's got a beautiful umami and vegetal flavor and savory.
Yeah.
And it's so nice.
So thick. I feel like it should be stay in there for a little bit longer though.
Totally different to Chinese greens.
Mm. Oh, that's another comment I wanted to make because I was watching him and twice because I watched his video a few times. Twice I noticed that he drank it. And he go, and I'm like, that's true because I can see myself do that as well.
My husband does that when he eats food.
Yeah, and and he also did this.
Yeah.
So is that okay in Western culture?
I guess it depends who you talk to, because some people find it quite rude and irritating.
Okay. So do you mean that it's the more like, British or like upper class sort of, culture that would find it not acceptable, or?
Probably slurping and burping and, with your mouth open and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, here's something that I like to share. When I first came here as an international student, I stayed in a homestay. I don't know if still, stuff like that exists these days. Yeah, but like I one of the few first group of Chinese students came here for university. So in the homestay, she was cooking something a little bit spicy for me. And so my nose started to get really runny. So I was like the whole time.
Oh.
And I got yelled at. She wasn't too mean, but she was like, wow, why didn't you blow your nose? Because it's like rude. And I'm like, really? Because blowing your nose in the dining table is rude in China. Like, who wants to see your snob on a tissue paper? Like, I couldn't understand. Like, I understand now that it's rude to sniff your nose, but I still don't understand why, blowing your nose is preferred.
But I must admit, I had to adjust to those sort of noises at the dinner table with my in-laws.
Like the sniffing?
Yeah, it was, it was noises that I wasn't used to. So I sort of, my first reaction is like, oh, okay, that's okay here,
Yeah, because it's not okay to blow your nose, because then the thing's out there to, for people to see.
Put it away.
That's even more gross. Like put in your pocket. That's another thing I don't understand. Like, why handkerchief? Why put your snot into your pocket? Yeah. Wow. Anyway.
Hang on, there's a few comments. I think we better hang on.
Okay.
This isn't about the snot and the slurping, but don't be fooled by Gyokuro. If the first brew isn't a deep color, you will be amazed by the flavor of what looks like it, like of what looks really weak. Yep, Kirsten said slurping anything is not good.
Okay.
And Tania said, because I don't wish to hear you sniff your snot. And you should move away from the table to blow your nose. There you go. Tania knows the problem.
Okay. So it's not at the table.
I guess it depends where you are.
Okay.
Yes, Kirsten said she's of English heritage and slurping and sniffing was a real no-no. Discreetly blowing your nose was best. It's over and done with quickly as opposed to constant noises.
I would like someone to demonstrate to me how to discreetly blow your nose.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, please, like another skill I need to master.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm on
so
to the second brew. Have you had your second brew yet?
I just put the water in and then I just quickly look at the clock. So 2 minutes later, I'll pull it out.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, Amanda, because you are married to a Chinese heritage, family. What other culture shock that you had? I think that would be quite interesting. Any tea-related culture shock or anything you share?
Oh, gee, you put me on the spot now. There's heaps, I'm sure. I can't think of any right this second. Yeah, well, the food thing, the pressure to eat food. Constant. We would just go from family house to family house and just eat and eat and not just a little snack. It was curries and noodles and roti canai and all of this stuff. And I'm like, but we've just eaten. And they're like, you don't have to be hungry to eat. So I'm like, oh my goodness.
See, like as a Chinese, I don't feel pressure. It's like people offer me food, great, like try a little bit. It's never a pressure. Why do you think it's a pleasure to eat? Like you don't have to finish it.
Well, yeah, I guess we always thought it was rude to say no, and then of course you would, if you were given something, you should finish it. You probably wouldn't just leave half a dish.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of that, and it's getting like I think when you're new to a family, you feel sort of pressure to impress, and you want to impress them a little bit too. So I think it kind of
eating.
Yeah.
I'm not eater.
Again, please save me. And I kept putting it onto my husband's plate. I'm like, here, quick, help me.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, I need to wait. It's only 1 minute for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also noticed that he used this. I don't know what this is called in Japanese. In Chinese, it's called cha chi. So it's a ruler for tea. Mm-hmm. So instead of measuring on a scale, we actually just judge like how much space the tea had took, on the tea ruler. And then we know how much tea to put into the pot. So I find that quite interesting. Like, when had people start using this, and then, the story behind that.
Because that was one thing I don't think he mentioned, unless I missed it, was how much tea he brewed.
I think that, see that there are two schools here. Like, I have found that the coffee were, or like, some people are more keen on measuring exactly how much and, how much water, what's the temperature, things like that. But so this is a generalization that I tend to make. It's like people who practice the art of tea, or like using it as in like a shadow or like, meditation, they tend not to, measure.
Yeah. Well, I have a thought on this too, because I think when you're learning, I think you need the help you along, because you're sort of gaining all your knowledge. But when you have a tea that you brew daily or very regularly, you get to know just by looking at it and feeling it. If you put in a little bit extra tea, you might not let it steep as long. You just automatically adjust these things slightly, and you probably couldn't tell someone, oh, I've got, you know, this many grams or this or this. It's just something you do. It becomes a feeling rather than a direct measurement, I feel. Yeah, so it's sort of like when you become better at steeping and more, you know, more familiar with a certain tea or a certain pot.
True that too. That makes more sense than my theory.
No, but I think it's right too. There is sort of two lots of people that like to measure everything and compare tastes and do everything to a certain science, and then there are people that are doing it for more of a relaxation and a meditative type state.
True that. So Jordan said, maybe you should read it.
Oh, so he said when he studied Chinese in high school, his teacher told us that the etiquette was not to finish the food in your bowl, but to leave a bit, because finishing everything is implying that the host didn't give you enough food. Yes, I've heard this.
See, culture difference. Yeah, so I also heard, like, I obviously don't follow it, but I also heard that people would purposely order more food that you can eat or make more food that you can eat. So it will just seem like that maybe it's a phase thing. Like, you know, we have abundance of stuff and, you know, and we are treating you well, that kind of thing.
Yes, I think so. And isn't there something with tea that you don't? You don't put more tea in. You just, that's nice. You just keep pouring water or something. What do you do?
No, I just saw it. It's to do with serving tea and serving alcohol. It said that, you know, we have a saying. It's in Cantonese though. So if you want to learn, it's that 酒滿敬人，茶滿稀人. It's like when you're serving alcohol, you serve it all the way to the top, means, you know, you're showing respect, as in, oh, you can drink. But if you serve your tea all the way to the top, you're actually trying to show that I'm better than you. Because like when tea is full on the top, you will burn the finger. Yeah, so it's actually not showing your respect if you serve your tea all the way to the top.
Oh yeah, that's always 3/4. But it was something to do with like letting your guests know you're finished by, because you'll always refill their cup. So I think, I can't remember if you don't put new tea in or something, otherwise the tea sessions would just go on forever. Or they don't finish their tea or something. I can't remember. I'll have to find out.
I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I'm Chinese at all sometimes. Like, I remember coming back home and then there's an uncle who had known me since I was a little girl. Like, him and his son share, you know, it's the same birthday or something. So we always celebrate together. So I haven't seen him for years. And my mom said that, oh, you had to ask him out to Yum Cha, you know, just to show your respect. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I rang him and I said, oh, uncle, yeah, long time no see. Like, are you free to come for Yum Cha? And my mom said, oh, don't say that. I'm like, what did I say? And she said that you don't say if you're free. You say you have to come. You have to. You know, it doesn't matter if you're free or not. Like, don't give him an option. You know, like, this is too hard.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm doing the third brew. I'm also conscious that I don't know why we're still going over time because we don't actually have a lot to cover today. Anyway,
We're just chatting.
Yeah, boiling water. So second brew, I had to say is true to what he had described. It is a little more astringent. The taste is a lot more sharp. You can really, you know, it's more complex, but the umami is a lot lower. So at this point, I start to think that, you know, with Gyokuro, you cannot get consistent brew like Chinese tea would give you. It would just be a very, very significant difference, you know, with the first, second, maybe even the third brew.
Yeah, and change temperatures too, I think. Makes a difference as well.
But because it's so bitter, after I drink it, now my saliva tastes sweet. Is that what you have?
The third one's actually, I'm getting a lot of sweetness in this third one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I need to put more. So I'm drawing my third one as well. The color's just as strong like the second one because I'm using boiling water as instructed.
So Kirsten said in America she found that fruit tea and bowls and chips were often bottomless. She finished a bowl of chips and they came out with another one.
Who are they? Who are these people? Are they the chip fairy?
I don't know. I'm quite happy to have someone serve me multiple chips.
Yeah, I don't know. I went to America when I was in high school as well, and it was really something else. Like I think that I got more culture shock in America than I am here.
Really?
Yeah. So I think that the first time I went to a church, a Christian church, was in America, and they were singing so, like they really put themselves into the singing. So that was like, shocking, but in a good way, right? And then the food. Like I tried elephant ears in America.
How?
See, I was so puzzled for a long time, but it ended up, it was just a massive flat donut. I really thought it was elephant ears. And I was like,
it wasn't a real elephant's ear.
Everything, but we don't eat elephant. But anyway, yeah.
I was going to say. So I think we should go through the last few things we need to go through. We did mention we do have a giveaway.
Yay!
Sorry, but this is our beautiful tea thermoses where you have a
give you the full screen so people can see better.
Yay. I'll try not to do it on the light. So it's got a beautiful area for your loose leaves to unfurl, and then this is all hospitality grade or whatever, kitchen grade something, stainless steel. So these are great little slim things to chuck in your bag and go, cold or hot. I've got one. I love it. So we're going to give away 2 of those for the best tea meme. So get out your favorite memes and share. You've got to tag a couple of tea friends. So go do that. Get on board and come back, Kaishan.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna drink my last one and give you a bit of a taste signal. I think I'll be jumping up and down tonight.
Me too. That's good.
It's a bit watery for me.
Is it?
But yeah, I can see what he means by the fragrance. It's I think that's why he called it refreshing, because it's lighter on the palate.
Yeah, it's got a very different characteristics compared to the first brew.
It's not as strong, in the middle of your tongue. So all the sensations going out. And that's why, he's feeling more fragrance. And so the first and the second infusion, you will feel like the weight of the tea is more heavy and it's definitely going down. And then now everything's going upward, if that makes sense to you. Yeah.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, very, very cleansing. If you're eating something, it would definitely clean your palate. Oh, I actually quite enjoy it because then by now, the bitterness had gone, And from drinking the first and the second infusion, and then everything is so sweet now.
And he mentioned that he would do a fourth and a fifth brew, and I almost gasped. I'm like, really? 5 brews from a Gyokuro? I'm like, wow.
Well, why not? I'll try it later. We won't do it on camera because we're going over time. Sorry, it's just me chatting. Okay, now I'm going to turn off the tea cam.
We probably are, Tania.
No, Tania, no, not me. I need more to be tea drunk. You can challenge me. Invite me back to Castle May and we would do a tea drunk episode. Okay, so the announcement for the brewing and might take a little bit for me to share. It was actually a bit of a struggle for me using Facebook as a platform for a tea festival. It ended up to be a mistake, I would say, because my account had been hacked. I don't know if you heard, and I thought it was just my personal account. Oh, hello there. So
overtime.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Okay, so I just quickly finish this. So my Facebook account had been hacked, and then I thought it was just my personal account, but it was actually to get to my PayPal account to get money to do like very expensive advertisement to sell, T-shirt. I think that they spend more on advertisement than people buying the T-shirt. But the point is, through this practice, they earn money anyway. So that's why I had to disconnect myself from the page. And that's why I could not manage the advertising on Facebook anymore. Subsequently, could not manage the pay event on Facebook anymore. So we had made the decision that we should move to a new platform and then build a new website to advertise brewing and represent it properly. And that's why now all the master classes, if you notice, we had stopped working on it, stopped promoting it, and we have decided we will move it to after Christmas to release the master class. But for our vendors, we will still record the master classes live on those dates for you to watch, but we just will not allow the public to watch it, to buy a ticket until after Christmas. So I don't know if I'm being clear about this, but I would end on this note. I feel like that a tea festival online very lightly. I did not know that you need so much IT knowledge, and then you need to know a lot about digital marketing. I did not understand, how many platforms that I had to manage and master in a short amount of time to put all this together. So but the main thing is I am learning, and then I generated all this great interaction with different tea vendors, and we will make it into shorter videos, and then just pinch all the tips and the good points and make it shorter version, more digestible. And we will continue to keep to our mission, which is to build a bigger and better pure leaf Australian tea lover community. So we will continue to do that. We will not be stopped by all these bumps. And thank you for watching and supporting us in this course. And I probably talked long enough. Amanda, you have anything else to add? What about you? Like me pulling you into this mess.
You did. What I thought would be just a little bit of help here and there is turned to a full-time home job, but that's okay. I've learned along the way. I don't hate you, Kaishan. No, we've had some fun and some ups and downs doing it, but I think the idea to move away from the Facebook platform and create something a little bit more official will be a really good move, and it'll be worth the wait. So our masterclasses are coming, and they're going to be great.
We have really good, speakers. I'm very excited, and I've learned so much just by planning all these tea masterclass as well. I think that I was here, and then I go next level now. Like imagine you guys watching the masterclass. Yes. So
we've had some fun, and we have some we've had some, and we're going to have even more great vendors and great tea topics and full of information, and it's just been so much fun getting to know them a little bit better and seeing all the information that they give us. I just think it's lovely. And Saturday we have BrewIN from Rajani Tea, so I'm excited. We're all ready, and he's going to delve into a little bit of white teas with us and a little bit of his childhood growing up on the Assam tea farm. So yeah, make sure you come back.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't normally see white tea being made in India. So, it would be very cool to ask him about, what he learned in this tea making. I know white tea is actually his favorite tea to drink.
Yeah, he loves it. And I think, the innovations that are going on in Assam now, and their old seed varieties that they're trying to push back, and I think it's all very fascinating and interesting. So we'll have some interesting conversations with him on Saturday.
Beautiful. So I will end with this. If you haven't yet followed us on YouTube, please go follow us now, because in the future we will fade away using the Facebook group because we're very disappointed at them. So and then good thing about YouTube is, one is easy to use, and then you will always get a notification when we come on, unlike Facebook, because even though you follow us, Facebook just will make us pay for your notification. So anywho, that's everything I want to say tonight. Anything else you want to add, Amanda?
No, I think we've covered everything.
Okay. Beautiful. So if you have any more questions for us, leave it, on the wall, or leave it here. We will answer next episode. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on Saturday.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.